Welcome to Econoful and welcome to Meet the Curriculum. I'm Kathleen Cusack, the curriculum specialist here at Econoful, and I'm so excited to share with you the resources that we have available and that we continue to make available. Let's jump in and get started to see what is going to be useful for you. Here's our plan for our time together. We will divide our time between these three sections. Let's dig into what you can expect from our curriculum and the guiding principles that inform our work. We've tasked ourselves with the goal of developing an accessible economics curriculum designed in alignment with the science of teaching and learning, because we know many educators assigned to teach economics have little experience with the discipline, and sometimes the experience they've had was not very positive. And while there are many excellent instructional resources scattered across the internet, there's no one place where an economic educator can go for a comprehensive semester plan couched in best practice. We aim to help all educators have a successful semester by providing them with a comprehensive set of resources to teach an engaging and effective high school economics course. The semester big ideas and essential questions frame the learning throughout the course. All assessments and learning opportunities are created to allow students to explore this big idea and these essential questions. In alignment with backward design, we have created the big ideas and essential questions for all 5 units. Take a minute to look over this slide. Think about the degree to which our semester plan matches the course you teach or your district parameters. Creating a complete curriculum that is grounded in the science of teaching and learning takes time. Here you can see our timeline for completing the full 1 semester on-level high school course. You can head over to Econoful to see all of the available lessons and access the most up-to-date versions. Educators using this curriculum can rely on our materials to meet all of these criteria. One piece that I'd like to highlight is current research in the field of economics and economics education tells us that economics has room to improve when it comes to diversity within the field and student retention. In response to that research, our curriculum strives to spotlight the diversity within the field of economics so students can see that economics is more than just stock markets. It's individuals deciding whether or not to get married, firms determining how much to spend on advertising, understanding why the cost of life-saving drugs are so expensive, exploring the impact a zip code can have on one's lifetime income, and so much more. When students see that economics is relevant to them, they see a place for themselves in the field. Our curriculum will ask students to interact with one another. Students will engage with rigorous tasks and authentic scenarios. They'll connect economic thinking to their lives, solve problems while thinking like an economist, and assess their own thinking. In all likelihood, they will fall head over heels for economics. We believe that to fulfill our mission, our curriculum must be couched in current educational research. From that research, we distilled these 4 principles. Transfer is the ability of students to take what they have learned in the classroom and apply it to the novel context both in and out of school. The second guiding principle is centered around cognitive science, the study of how people encode, organize, and retrieve information. Instructional practices grounded in cognitive science are thoughtfully integrated into the curriculum's design and explicitly highlighted for students. In the curriculum, you will see retrieval practice, which focuses on pulling information out of students' head, thereby actively generating knowledge from memory. We use interleaving or intentionally creating practice opportunities that incorporate past content and skills, so students are required to select the appropriate strategy for solving a problem or answering a question. Metacognition moments are built in to provide students with opportunities for reflection on what they know and don't know in order to guide future behavior. The third guiding principle is backward design. Backward design is a framework to ensure all components serve the ultimate goal of a curriculum and are organized into a meaningful pattern to increase the likelihood that students can apply their knowledge and skills to new and unfamiliar problems. Backward design dovetails with the concept of transfer. Transfer can be thought of as the designed outcome, and backward design is the roadmap to achieve it. Finally, students who are shown the reason why consistently and are reminded of the purpose of an activity, an assessment, are able to begin making sense of it all instead of being bogged down by minutiae. Students can focus on big ideas and connections, and this leads to a more flexible understanding and increases students' ability to effectively transfer their learning. We recognize that because of our adherence to these guiding principles, Some elements that are traditionally included in an Introduction to Economics course are not emphasized in our curriculum. We have pared down the number of economic concepts addressed in the course so we can spend more time on a smaller number of fundamental economic principles. We think it is important to acknowledge that this may be off-putting for experienced economic educators, and we did not make these decisions lightly. We made this decision based on the current research in the field, such as targeting economic literacy, which indicates that students who are given opportunities to think deeply about a shorter list of economic concepts are more likely to retain the information. And importantly, students who do pursue future economics courses are not adversely affected by this literacy targeted approach. That being said, our curriculum is designed for 45-minute periods over the course of a 16-week semester, so many educators will have room to include additional components. Now that you're familiar with the guiding principles, let's move on and describe how the curriculum is organized, as well as how materials are arranged for each unit and each lesson. The Econoful curriculum is designed to be completed over 16 weeks with 5 45-minute lessons taught each week. We intentionally built it within this time frame to account for schedule disruptions and required testing. Lessons are written for a 45-minute class period, and this was selected based on information collected from our members. If you have a longer class, you can spend more time on various exercises or build in extensions for topics you're particularly passionate about. Now let's take a moment at what the materials look like and how to use them. This gives you an idea of what you can expect when you access any of our lessons at econoful.org. At the top, we identify the unit and where within the unit the lesson is intended to be taught. This example communicates that this lesson is from Unit 1 and is the second lesson within that unit. Lessons build on one another and are designed to be used sequentially, but individual lessons can be pulled out and successfully integrated into an existing curriculum. If you plan to use one of the lessons in isolation, we recommend you review the unit overview documents to ensure students have the necessary prior knowledge. Below this, we have a brief overview of the lesson. Next, you see the learning objectives. Learning objectives are where you and your students will see direct and explicit connections to all components of the lesson. Then we list the relevant unit big ideas and essential questions for that lesson. Unit big ideas and essential questions are not always explicitly taught in every lesson, which is why we refer to them as relevant in the lesson plan. But of course, we're always building towards them. Beneath that are the materials that are required for the lesson. In the materials section, we include any handouts that students might need, keys, class copies, etc. A helpful note about the materials section: we have individually hyperlinked a separate copy of each of the required materials to enable easy posting to any learning management system, such as Google Classroom or Schoology. The materials are also included within the lesson plan document for easy printing. To more quickly move from one part of the lesson plan to another, use the outline section on the left side of the Google document window. Click on the icon boxed in green to open the outline. All materials are provided as live documents. You can see when documents were last updated by looking at the footer on the first page. You can make a copy of these documents in your own Google Drive or download them and edit them to best fit your students' needs. But remember, you'll need to return to the website in order to get the most up-to-date version. After the material section, we have the lesson sequence, which includes approximately how many minutes should be spent on each section and the relevant slide numbers from the instructional slides. In response to research on the importance of transparency and metacognition, we identify common misconceptions, what we refer to as stumbling blocks, so that educators can proactively address them. These stumbling blocks are noted in the lesson sequence as shown in the yellow box. In addition to the stumbling block note in the sequence of the plan, we also use this graphic of a person stumbling in the instruction slides so that students know this is a common confusion and they ought to pay special attention to the explanation to avoid future mistakes. This allows students to engage in metacognition to prevent stumbling. We recognize that the educators who will use the resources range from first-year economic educators to seasoned veterans. To accommodate both groups, we've included the general sequence in the lesson instructions. This provides more experienced economic educators with the basic information needed to implement the lesson. As mentioned, each lesson includes instructional slides in the materials section. Notice that below the slides in the notes section, boxed in green, we provide additional information as needed. Notes include step-by-step solutions for practice problems, further examples of concepts, tips on how to best group students, and other components that might be helpful to you. Here we are at econoful.org. All of the lessons and assessments that are available can be found by clicking on the Lesson Plans dropdown, hovering over units, and selecting the unit that you want to explore. Then scroll down and see all available lessons. In order to view all of the lessons, as well as to gain access to the assessments, make sure you're logged in as a member. You can log in by clicking on the login button in the top right corner of the page. If you're not a member yet, learn more about membership by clicking on register. Once you're logged in, you'll have complete access to the Econoful curriculum. Feel free to pause the video and visit econoful.org to preview the lessons and assessments that are available, or to register and become a member. We would love to hear your experience using our lessons. After you've implemented one of our lessons, please take a moment to provide us with your insights. As shown on the slide, this is done by visiting econoful.org and hovering your mouse over lesson plans, units, and then clicking on feedback form. This will take you to a Google form that asks you to tell us about your experience, and it's extremely helpful for us to receive feedback from educators after they've implemented our lessons. That way we can continue to improve the resources available to everyone. You can also provide us with feedback through the lesson document by clicking on the link provided under Feedback and Suggestions. That will take you to the same Google form. Either way, we'd love to hear how the lesson went. We know your time is scarce, so thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to learn about the lessons we have at Econoful. Please contact me with questions or suggestions. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you.